Welcome to the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and I am on the mission to change the narrative of immigration, one immigrant story at a time. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Heidy De La Cruz here, your host, and I just have two announcements. One is for this episode in particular. I want to share what happened, and it was that I actually lost power twice while recording this episode. It was such a bizarre incident. It had never happened to me before. So there may be some parts where it doesn't make sense and trying to get back into the conversation because again, I lost power twice, which again had never happened before, first time. So I just wanted to give you that little update and thank you, Heather, the guest, for being so understanding with what was happening. So thank you, Heather, so much for that. And then the second thing is that we got, or I should say the podcast got, a $200 donation. Oh my goodness. So thank you, John, for that donation. That is so kind of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. All the money that is received goes directly back to the podcast for the production of the podcast. Okay, so thank you so much for that donation. Again, thank you so much for those who are paid subscribers on Substack and get ad-free episodes, and also you get the episodes a day before, so you get to listen to them on Mondays versus on Tuesdays. So thank you to everyone who has supported this podcast, whether listening every single Tuesday, whether you contributed with money or you became a sponsor. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much. And yes, enjoy this episode. And also, last thing, give me some feedback, you guys. I love getting emails and comments and messages of how you like the episode and things like that. So let me know. I love the feedback and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants Podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and today I have a very special guest. I have Miss Heather with us, and she is going to be talking about her unique story about her upbringing. And Heather, thank you so much for being here and being willing to share your journey and your story. And if you could just introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get right into your childhood.
Perfect. So I'm so excited to be here. My name's Heather Reese, like she said. I'm a personal injury attorney in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I mean, all of Pennsylvania, but I'm mostly in Philadelphia. And I am a model, activist, content creator, and I have a little series where I showcase Latino, and Latinx businesses.
Oh, I love that. Doing so much good work. I love that. So tell us about your upbringing.
Okay, so it's a toughie. So I'm adopted. I'm adopted from Peru, and I was adopted into an upper middle class white Jewish family. So my mom was Jewish, and my father was pseudo Christian. I mean, he's a hippie, so it's really hard to understand really what he was. He's a 6'7" hippie from California. I think he's 6'5", but he's tall. He always felt super tall to us.
Yeah.
So me and my sister and my brother were all adopted. We're not adopted. We're not blood siblings. We're each adopted from different families. Me and my sister are both from Peru. My brother's from Honduras. Me and my sister, we're all different ages, so we're 2 years apart. So we weren't adopted at the same times. But we were adopted from Peru. And our parents were always super open about it. My parents never hid it. I grew up with amazing parents that were very open and honest about kind of where we came from. We had maps of our countries in our rooms. We each had jewelry boxes from our country that had money in it, little trinkets. We had toys, we had shoes. They really made it so we understood our culture growing up, at least knowing that we weren't from here, which I also think was pretty easy because we don't look at all like them. So it wasn't like they could have even pretended to say that we were we were their birth children, but they never even tried. So, I mean, I really appreciate their honesty and all that stuff.
Yeah. And where did you guys grow up?
So we grew up in Delaware and PA. So our parents got divorced.
Oh.
And it's so funny because I actually just talked about this on another podcast. Me and my sister, we didn't really like grow up in high school together. She was with my dad. She had moved in with my dad when they got divorced.
Oh.
And my dad is just so different than my mom. He's like very hippie, very like uplifting, very like all love, spiritual, like just a completely different environment and energy than my mom. My mom's very brilliant, but very stern, very smart, very strict. And my dad's also like sees the positive in everyone and always sees like best intentions. And I think my sister grew up in that like really light wave with that. So like when I came into my cultural shift of realizing that I was like Latina, it really hadn't hit her. And she looks more Latina than the
Aw.
rest of us. She's like
Yeah.
incredibly dark. But it had just it was an interesting shift to happen and an interesting way to look at us now as adults, just that we had very different experiences in life.
Oh my goodness. So how old were you guys when they divorced?
I was 10.
You were
So I
10
guess my
years old.
sister was 12. My brother was probably 14 because I think we're all 2 years apart.
And so like you guys got to choose which parent to stay with?
Oh no, I don't think we
Oh,
got to choose. I think it was like it was drama, but I mean, I think it
okay.
was like, but yeah, no, my sister wanted to be with my dad. All of her friends were in the area. My mom was moving to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Um, and I was the youngest, so I just like went wherever I was
Yeah.
told to go. And my
Yeah.
brother and my mom were very close. So my brother also being like the oldest, I think just like was told he was gonna stay with my mom. And that's kind of
Okay.
just like it was me and my brother with my mom and then my sister with my dad. And then my dad got remarried and his wife had kids and they were all like
Oh.
closer to my sister's age.
Oh.
So like she had already came in with children. So like my sister grew up with all these other kids because they were all closer in age than I was. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
I became really good friends with one of my stepsisters, but we were, closer in age. We were both the youngest as opposed to them being like older and wanting to go out and having like very different, lives than I had.
Yeah, no, I asked because, just thinking about my parents when they divorced, believe I was like 6. Of course, I was very young, but just remember hearing of like who was I going to stay with because I grew up in Michigan, and so my mom wanted to move to Florida, and my dad was going to stay in Michigan. So I just remember that whole back and forth of like, who am I going to stay with? Am I going to go with my mom or my dad, and everything? So that's why I was wondering, especially because three kids, it's like how. Who are the kids going to stay with? And I want to touch on something that you said about embracing your Latinidad, right? Because you were adopted, grew up in a predominantly white household, as you mentioned. So tell us about that. Tell us about when you had kind of that realization or that shift, and how was that for you?
Yeah, sure. So I had like 3 moments in my life where I think I really things started to change. They didn't fully change. I would say the first one was when I was in 7th grade. I had gone to an all Jewish school for my kindergarten through 6th grade, same 12 kids. If there were any Latinas in that class, I certainly don't remember it because it was the same 12 kids. And it was a very private Jewish school in
From
Delaware.
kindergarten to 6th grade, same 12 kids.
Same 12 kids. I mean, one kid
Wow.
might have came in and left, but
Mhm.
like that's what it was. Like, and no one ever looked at the way anybody looked. Like, I think that was the big thing too. Like, the biggest taboo thing was when somebody who was Christian came to our school, right?
Mm,
And there was a girl who was Christian. I was actually really good friends with her because her mom was a teacher. And that
okay.
was more taboo than any of us, like me looking different, right?
Oh,
And I really didn't think I looked that different either because there were some Israeli people there and there are some of them are somewhat tanner.
yeah.
So it wasn't like any really in my face kind of situation. So I go to a public middle school after that and I'm wearing a Jewish star necklace and somebody comes up to me and says, you can't be Jewish. You don't look Jewish. Like you can't be that." And I
Mm,
was like, "What do you mean? Like I'm bat mitzvah, I'm a dot, like what do you mean?" And then it
yeah.
was like it was the first time it really hit me that like, do I not look like am I not Jewish because I'm like what is this? What does this mean? Like what did that
Yeah.
mean for me? And I remember hitting it. I remember thinking like going to my mom and being like, this is so weird that my mom was like, people have been persecuted, for millions of years, right?
Mhm.
And us as Jewish women, you'll be fine. Yes, this person shouldn't have said this to you. but you always be proud of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, but that's weird. And then I think when I went into the legal community and I went into law, I realized that there was very few Latinas. We make up 2.5%, I think was the last stat. And that's when it also kind of hit me. I didn't really, there wasn't a legal community in my law school for Latinas. There are groups that are called like LALSA, but they didn't have one at the school I had gone to. So I was kind of like that massive shift. And then when I went through a divorce, I said to myself, I'm going to redefine who I am. I'm not going to live on the terms of other people, whether it's being the perfect Jewish girl, whether it's being the perfect wife, because I had converted when I got married, no matter what I was being defined by other people, I wasn't going to do it anymore. And I said, I really want to lean into my culture because I'm searching for people to accept me. I had never really felt all that accepted, right? Because I've never been white enough for white people, and I've never been Hispanic enough or Latina enough because I don't speak Spanish for a lot of the Spanish people I had met. So, when that happened, I really started to lean into it more. I started to get involved more in the Latina culture, more in the Latina groups that were in Pennsylvania, New York, and Delaware. And I really started to say, like, this is what, I need to redefine myself. And this is a big portion of who I am. And how can I get more involved? Especially when it came into law, I saw that there was just not a lot of mentorship for people that looked like me. And I'm so blessed that my parents brought me up in such an amazing community and that my mom was very well connected and that her friends were well connected. And, my best friend's dad was a lawyer and I got to go see him do an arbitration when I was 14. And I said, that's what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And he had introduced me to all the right people, helped me get amazing jobs. And I said, I need to do this for my community. I need to help figure out a way that I can give back because I have a duty and obligation as somebody in this community, because I had it so easy to help other people, because a lot of it is gatekeeping. A lot of it is mentorship. A lot of it is like just knowing the right people, right? Like I didn't graduate top of my class by any means, but I knew the right people and I was able to get introduced into the right rooms. And that doesn't always happen for people that look like me because they might not necessarily know other people. So I said, what can I do? What can I kind of bring to the table?
I love that. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. That's why I'm just thinking right now, like networking is so important. Cause the saying, they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's true. Like it really is true to today. And I did want to ask you, like, how did you get into law and specifically injury law? So you mentioned a little bit about going to an arbitration at the age of 14. So is that immediately how you fell in love with the law, or can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So I mean, I had gone to like a pre-law program in high school. Like I'm not gonna lie, like, and I said this on the last podcast, I was like a terror of a child. I mean, from like 7 to 14, I was just trying to find myself. My parents were divorced.
Yeah.
I was going through whatever, and I was like, oh, I was not a great kid. And people took chances on me. And there was one teacher in high school who I had asked, can you write me a recommendation to get into this pre-law program? And without even thinking twice, she did it. And
Oh.
it's teachers like that that really changed my life. It was two teachers that truly believed in me and were like, we know that she's like hyper and crazy and, out here doing reckless stuff, but we see something more in her. And I did. I got to go to a pre-law program in high school. It was at Dickinson College. It was great. I saw different types of law and I fell in love, and I had already had somewhat of a basis from seeing my friend's dad, who honestly, he has been such a mentor, such an inspiration. I tease him all the time. He had always told me not to go to law school. I had lived with his family for a brief period of time in high school. And I always said, like, the way that he is able to communicate with people, like that arbitration, it was just the way he was able to tell a story based off of facts and really move other individuals. And in that same notion, help other people, help that victim feel like their story is being heard. And I said, that is a powerful gift and tool. And I want to be able to do that. How do I get to do that? Like, how do I figure that portion out? And he really did help me all through law school. I went to his alma mater, so I went to the same school that he went to. Um, and he has helped me through my entire legal career. I mean, he really has been, he's been an amazing source. Like even now, like when I graduated law school and I passed the bar, um, I did not pass the first time. I failed the first time.
I've heard it's hard.
It was. I failed by only like a point, so it was very rough.
Oh my God!
But when I eventually passed, I worked. He was the first person I worked with when I worked out of law school, and then my second job was with him as well. This job I'm currently at is the first job I've worked at without him, and it really was a blessing to have somebody, you know, in the community who had my back and who was able to kind of tell me what's on the other side of the doors before I walk into it. And I think that's the biggest thing about mentorship and kind of knowing the right people, right? Because if I didn't, I probably would have felt more afraid in that space. Just looking so different than everyone else, you know, being confident into walking into a room. And it's not like I've really ever lacked confidence. Like I'm sure anybody that's met me never been like, she's not the type of girl to speak up or say something. Because I do.
Yeah.
But I think it's just it's they helped curate that mindset in me, right? My mom did a really great job of being a very powerful woman and being a very strong-minded woman to instill in me that like I can do anything I want in life. Everything is available to me. And it really took me being an adult and being in different spaces to be like, I mean, she was right about that, but people are going to make it harder for me because of who I am. So it's been an amazing journey.
And what law did your mentor practice?
Personal injury. So he's a personal injury. Yeah. He had his own firm for a while and then he went to a few other firms and I followed him to the firms that he went to. And like I said, this last job was the last one I had. He didn't know anybody at the firm. It was like the first time I got a job without you even using him as a reference and being like, no. I'm going to do this myself. I want to get things based off of who I am and how I can present myself.
Hi, Heidi here. Thank you so much for listening and supporting my podcast, but most importantly, the mission. If you would like to further support this podcast, there are a few ways you can do that. You can sign up for the newsletter. You'll receive the episodes straight to your inbox every time they drop. The link is in the show notes and the show description. You can subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel. And lastly, you can donate money. That link is also in the show notes and show description. If you would like to sponsor an episode or promote your business on this show, send me an email at Heidi@HeidiDeLaCruz.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the episode.
But I still call him if there's like emergency or something.
Of course.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do here? I don't know this. And he's always been great. He's one of the funniest men I've ever met. It really is. He's like the epitome of an older male attorney. I always tell him that I'm like, you're a boomer. And it shows in the fact that you can't use a PDF. But
oh my God.
He's great at what he does though. I mean, he's written a lot of books. He always reminds me of that. And I'm like, what's a book? What do you mean? Like a physical book? I'm like, have you been on any podcasts?
What? Yeah.
That's just me teasing you.
Yeah, that's so, oh my gosh. I'm so glad you have him in your corner. And how was your journey going through law school? Because you mentioned, you know, the stat of there's barely any Latinas, you know, there's very few, but I hope that this can inspire other people, especially Latinas who may be thinking about going into law. So how was that experience for you going through law school?
Yeah, I mean, so like there wasn't very many Latinas. I did have a few friends that were Hispanic. I think I only had one male friend who was Latino. I might have had one friend who was like Afro Latina, who was a woman, but minus that there wasn't. I was just really around a lot of white people, white faces, and you know, it's tough. It wasn't tough for me. I'm very blessed. I had at the time I was living with my my in-laws because I was married. So I didn't have to think twice about expenses. I didn't have to think twice about being stressed about an exam because even if I was, everything at home would have already been handled for me, right? Like from food to my clothes to everything. They really were a godsend. Like my in-laws, my ex-in-laws my ex-mother-in-law is my best friend. I love her till the end of time. And they really did make my law school very seamless. Even paying for anything I ever needed, they took care of. And I think that was a unique experience for somebody who looks like me, because I don't think that's necessarily the case for the other Latinas that were in school with me. They were working jobs.
Yeah.
They were, worried about saving money for the next thing. They were going home and helping take care of their family or their siblings, where I really got to live a life where all I had to focus on was this exam. And then I got to go home and think about nothing else. But what I would say to people, and what I always say to people, is we need more of us. And there's going to be challenges and there's going to be situations, but there's enough of us that we're willing to help. Like, if you are a Latina law student and you need an outline or you need just a pep talk, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to do it. I have tons of outlines, and I'm more than happy to be like somebody in your corner, because at the end of the day, we all have to take this hard step so that there's more of us here. Right. And that's why I really focus on, competition or collaboration over competition, because in my mind, I'm never competing with somebody else. Yes. No matter who they are. I just don't like to compete. It's never been my thing. And I think that's really foreign and upper learning and legal community. Like, that's just, I don't care. Like, there's enough to feed everyone, and I'm never going to tear down somebody else. But what I am going to do is build my community up. Yeah. So if you're a Latina lawyer and you just need somebody to repost your stuff, you want me to wear your merch, I do it all the time. I wear other lawyers' merch that even aren't Latina, because for me, like, I just think building each other up is what makes this community, a community that's like actually not soul sucking, because being a lawyer is stressful and you're already exhausted and you're tired and somebody's always mad at you. So if we can do our part and not being mad at each other, I think that's, the biggest thing. But for me, if you're a Latina and you want to go to law school, go. There are so many groups and organizations that will help with financing. There are so many things out there now for people. There's LALSA, there's tons of other communities. And like I said, even if it's for outlines or anything, reach out to me. I'd love to help, because when one of us wins, we all win. And in my mind, whatever I can do to give back, I want to do it.
I love that you are giving back, that you're not shutting the door behind you, and you're like, let's go. We all can eat. We all can do this, and you're providing a seat at the table. I love that. I love your heart for that.
Thank you.
And so let's talk about your content creation and your modeling. Like, okay, how did that come about?
Oh my gosh, on Threads. Shout out to Threads for giving me so many things in life. I love Threads. So I had always loved modeling. I'd always loved, I love getting dressed up. I've always been confident, and somebody had posted, actually it was Mal from Crusades of Curves, had posted she was looking for a model in the East Coast area. And I on a whim responded and was like, hey, I'm not like a formal model, but I'd love to be considered. And she was like, she was like, okay, send me a walking video. And that same day, like 5 minutes after I received that message, I said to my assistant at work, I said, I need you to film me walking down the hallway. Like, I need you to film me. It was like 7 a.m. I was like, I want to send it to her right away. And she filmed me walking and I sent it to her. And Mal was like, yeah, you got it. You can come and you can walk the Crusades of Curves fashion show in Philly. And I remember being like so shocked, because I was like, there's no way. And so she took a chance on me, and I'm so grateful for it. And I got to walk my first runway, and I met some amazing women at that runway show. I met this girl, Amanda, who is a lot like a mentor. She showed me how to walk, because I had never walked before. I had never walked down a runway. I've walked in heels millions of times because I walk for them in court and at work. Yeah. But I had never walked like professionally as I'm supposed to walk. And yeah, I mean, it was an amazing opportunity. From that, I've gotten a few other gigs. Now, I go to New York on the weekends to go either make content with other, creators, or I go do content days for different companies. So yeah, I mean, that's been the big thing for modeling. It was all from Threads. It all started from a thread, and I was so grateful for it. And then just the content creation as a whole, it really started when I made a thread And I said, hey, I really want to showcase Latino-owned businesses for Hispanic Heritage Month. And I thought like 3 people would answer me, but like 50 people answered me.
Oh my God.
And I had such an outpour of people wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, really? So it started where I thought it was just going to be a few companies, and it blew up. And I think I've worked with over 50 different companies now. I just filmed maybe episode 20, like series number 27. And then I said, halfway into Hispanic Heritage Month, I said, I also want to showcase professionals, because like that's really the crazy thing I'm in, where I'm like, it's only 2.5% of lawyers, but I'm sure that's also in other fields. And I started to look at other stats. So I started to interview, Latino, Latina, and Latinx and Afro-Latina people in the community and professions. And I've interviewed breakup coaches. I've interviewed mental health professionals. I've interviewed wealth management people. I've interviewed people that are running organizations. So it's been amazing with that. And I said, God, man, I mean, my whole mission was to create visibility for us in any field that you're in. Because I said, what I want is when people think of soap, to not think of insert big box brand, right? I want you to think of like Naked Bar Soap, which is a Latino-owned company. When you think of hydration, I don't want you to think of like Liquid IV. I want you to think of Salud. I want you to think of these companies. And I said, I want, if I can do anything, I want our community to know that we can buy from our own people.
Yes.
We can support our own community in everything. So now I've been on a mission to find anything you could ever need and get it from a Latino-owned company. And it's been amazing. It really has been. The series has been way more fulfilling than I could have imagined it being. There's no cost to be in it. I always tell people, and like people always say, do you want a commission code or anything? I'm like, no, I don't want any money from this. This is not about making money for me. This is just about creating the visibility for the company. Some of them have been really big brands, like, and I'm like, why would you want to work with me? Like, I'm a nobody. And I always preface that. I'm always like, hey, I'm not some big influencer. I'm just a girl. I'm just a Latina girl creating visibility in whatever space that I can do it in. And it's been amazing. And I said I was only going to do it for Hispanic Heritage Month. And then I made a video, I think 2 weeks ago, and was like, I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore. I'll just do one video a week. And I want to keep putting it out there because I want people to keep seeing our own community and spotlighting it in whatever way that I can do it.
Oh, Heather, I love your heart. Oh my gosh. And that's what we need. We need to uplift each other. We need to support each other and in any way that we can. And, one of the, sharing on social media is free. Reposting, resharing, commenting, sharing it with a friend or someone who may be interested. It's like, okay, this is what you need. Oh, I know someone. Like that is completely free. And that provides visibility for everyone, because again, we're like working against I want to say we're working against the algorithm that, only pushes certain content, but it's like if we share it and things like that, then other people will see it. And I absolutely love what you're doing. Oh my goodness. And so now wrapping this up, I love asking my guests about what does the American dream mean to them. So Heather, what does the American dream mean to you?
Okay, that's a toughie. So, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, my answer would have been different. When this comes out,
I actually get that a lot. I actually get that a lot.
When this comes out, we will have already seen what's happened with the new administration into 2025. And I think for me, the American dream is supporting my community, because I am lucky that, when I was brought over here, my parents, did what they could to make sure that I got everything in life, that I got essentially the American dream. And when I became an adult, I realized that the American dream isn't available to everyone. It truly isn't. And if I can help make the American dream to the next generation of young Latino women, that's what I want to do. So for me, the American dream is building my own community up, and in any way that I can do it.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And It's hard, it's very hard, but we got this. Like, we're stronger together. Building each other up, supporting each other is how we'll be able to achieve that. Whatever the American dream is to each person, right? We'll be able to achieve that together. And I can't believe I was actually thinking about quitting this, and it really crossed my mind a
No, oh
little
my
bit.
gosh,
I know.
never.
I know. But I was in my feels, and but that's why they say you can't make drastic changes when you're in your field. So,
I think it's so
um
important for you because you give voices to so many people that, that their American dream, their process of immigration, their process of getting here is a story that has to get told.
yeah.
Because it's easier for people to hate on people that they don't know. It's harder to hate on somebody when you've humanized them. When somebody can say like all these people are just so bad, and then you say, look at episode 47. Is that person bad? That person is changing lives. That person is
You give me chills.
helping other people. And that's what I think it's so amazing that you're doing. Because honestly, please don't ever give it up because people need to see who we are, right? The American dream, being an immigrant, being whatever you are, it comes in so many different shapes and sizes. And yeah, you should always keep going. I think like I had said for me, like what you do is so important because especially in times that are now, because this will have already gone out, especially in times that are now, people it's easy for someone to hate somebody if they don't know anything about them, right?
Yeah.
There's this old thing people used to say where if somebody is like attacking you, tell them about your life because people feel less able to attack somebody when you humanize them, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're humanizing immigrants. You're humanizing.
Yeah, I was in my feels and it really did cross my mind to just like I was like, what's the point? But then I was reminded and I will say that, as God, I'm really big on my faith. The Bible talks a lot about advocating for the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the foreigner. And so I was reminded of that. It's like, it's in the Bible multiple times. And it's like there is a reason why he put this mission in my heart and this podcast and provided this platform to be able to share these stories. And so I was like, no, I'm gonna keep going because all right, Miss Heather, I love all the work that you are doing. I love everything that you stand for. And I would love, to give you the opportunity so people can actually, connect with you. And, if there's any, Latino business out there that, can join in, sharing uplifting their business and things. So how can people connect with you?
Sure. So my Instagram is the best way to do it. It's Heather underscore RXOXO. And it's the main way to get a hold of me. There's an email button that you can click. And then if you want to send me a DM, I do go through all my DMs. So I'm more than happy to do that. Threads, great way to connect with me.
Yes.
But those are my two main sources to connect with me. I would say Instagram is the biggest one.
Perfect. And I will include your links in the show notes and show description. And once again, thank you so much for being here with me and sharing your journey and your story, but then also just the technology that doesn't want to work with me right now. Just thank you for being patient and sticking through to the end of this episode.
Absolutely. And thank you so much again for having me. I really do appreciate it. I think what you're doing is amazing, uplifting people's voices. So I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Mommy Podcast.